Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. This is part 5 of our character rigging series. In the last video, we worked on the arms and upper body, and today we're diving into the legs and boots. We'll go through everything step by step, so if you've missed any part of the series, make sure to check it out before continuing. Let's get started. First, I stand on one of the layers inside the Hilda group. Then, I hold down Alt and click the eye icon next to that layer. That turns off all the other layers. Now, I go ahead and turn on only the left leg and boot layers. Next, I select the Hilda group, switch to the Select Bone tool, and select all the bones that belong to the skirt. I check the Shy Bone option to hide them for now, just to keep things clean and avoid any confusion while I'm working on the leg bones. Now let's add the first pin bone. With no bone selected, I grab the Add Bone tool and drop a pin bone near the upper leg. Then, I switch to the Select Bone tool, change the bone's color to blue, and name it Target 1-Left Leg. I want to place this pin bone exactly in the center of the upper leg circle. So I use the Layer Selector tool to jump into the upper leg layer, and with the Transform Points tool, I select the center point of the circle. I copy its X position. Go back to the Hilda group, select the pin bone, switch to the Transform Bone tool, and paste that X value into the bone's position. Then I repeat the same for the Y position. Now the pin bone is perfectly centered on the upper leg. Let's draw a bone from the center. I select the pin bone, and using the Add Bone tool, I draw a bone downward from the center, about the same as the radius of the circle. I color this bone blue, and name it Left Upper Leg Top. Then I deselect everything, and with no bone selected, I add another pin bone next to the lower leg circle. Color, blue. Name, Target to Left Leg. Again, I repeat the same steps to move this pin bone to the center of the lower leg circle using the X and Y positions. Now time to build more bones. I select this second pin bone and draw a bone upward from the center, same radius as before. Color it blue, and name it Left Upper Leg Bottom. Still selecting the same pin bone, I draw another bone, this time downward, exactly opposite to the previous one. Again, I set the color to blue, and name it Left Lower Leg Top. Now I deselect everything, and place another pin bone on the lower leg, right where the leg connects to the boot. Color, blue. Name, Target 3-Left Leg. Then I select this pin bone, and draw a bone upward from it. Color it blue, and name it Left Lower Leg Bottom. Now I select the third pin bone using the Select Bone tool. Then, with the Add Bone tool, I draw a bone from this pin bone downward, over the boot. I change its color to blue, and name it Left Boot. Next, I deselect the bone using the Select Bone tool. Then, using Add Bone, I add another pin bone below the boot. I turn it blue and name it Target for Left Boot. Now I deselect this pin bone again. And while no bones are selected, I go up to the upper leg and use the Add Bone tool to draw a bone from the first pin bone to the right. I color it blue and name it Left Upper Leg. I select the first pin bone with the Select Bone tool and use Reparent Bone to reparent it to Left Upper Leg. Then I move down to the lower leg. While nothing is selected, I draw another bone from the second pin bone to the right. I make it blue and name it Left Lower Leg. I select the second pin bone and reparent it to Left Lower Leg using the Reparent Bone tool. Same goes for the third pin bone. I reparent it just like the others. Now I select the fourth pin bone and reparent it to the third pin bone. Then, I select the root-left boot bone and reparent it to root-left lower leg. Next, I reparent root-left lower leg to root-left upper leg. And finally, I reparent root-left upper leg to the main root bone. Okay, now let's move on to binding the bones. Using the layer selector, I go to the upper leg layer. I select the left upper leg top bone and use the bind points tool to select all the points of the upper circle. Then I click the bind points button at the top. Next, I select the left upper leg bottom bone and in the same layer, bind all the points of the lower circle using the same tool and method. There are a few more bones that need binding, but I won't go into all of them here. Just make sure you do it carefully. Now I select the Bone Strength tool, then I press Ctrl-A to select all the bones. From the top settings bar, I reduce the bone strength all the way down to 0. Alright, now let's move on to the part where we assign target bones to some of our main bones. First, I select the left upper leg top bone using the Select Bone tool, then I go to the Bone Constraints panel. Under the Inverse Kinematics section, in the Targets area, I set the target of this bone to its matching pin bone, the second pin bone, named Target to left leg. I repeat this same process for several other bones as well. Make sure to watch closely and follow along carefully. Also, I already explained this method for the arms in the previous video part, so if you need a refresher, check that out. Now, let's grab the Manipulate Bone tool and test how the root bones behave when we move them. Looking good. Next up, we'll select each root bone, go into the Bone Constraints panel again, and define movement limits for each bone. Just a reminder, this part was also covered in the earlier videos, so take your time and do it precisely. Alright, let's make a smart bone for rotating the boot. So, I'm using this image with 3 different angles of the boot as a reference. You can take a screenshot of it and use it too. First, I go into the reference group, click the new layer icon, choose Image Layer, and import that boot image. I lower the opacity and scale it down to match Hilda's boot, placing it exactly over her foot. Then I go back to the Hilda group. Without having any bone selected, I use the Add Bone tool to draw a new bone from the middle of the left boot bone going to the right. I set its color to blue. Bone strength to 0. And limit its rotation range from -90 to 0. I name it left boot turn. Now I grab the reference image layer and drag it out of the reference group into the Hilda group. I double-click the image layer and disable masking from the layer settings. Back in the Hilda group, I select the left boot turn bone with the Select Bone tool. Then I go to the Actions panel, click New Action, hit OK on the pop-up, and jump into the new timeline. Here's how I animate it. On frame 90, I use Transform Bone to rotate that smart bone all the way to its limit. On frame 45, I select the boot image layer, hold Shift, and slide it right using Transform Layer, lining it up with the front-facing boot reference. Then I go to the left boot layer, and with Transform Points and Curvature tool, I adjust the shape so it matches the new angle. I do the same with the left boot cover layer, reshape it to match the front view. On frame 90, I move the reference image again to line it up with the third boot pose and repeat the shape adjustment on the left boot layer. Once that's done, I double-click Main Line to return to the main timeline, go to frame 0, and test the smart bone using Manipulate Bone. Looking good. Now, if needed, I tweak the constraints on the root lower leg bone so it can move in both directions more freely. Last step here, I select the left boot turn bone and reparent it to the left boot bone using the Reparent Bone tool so it follows the boot's motion. Save your project. Now let's move to the right leg. I turn on the right leg layers and basically duplicate the bones from the left leg, placing them over the right leg same way we did with the arms earlier. After copying, select the root bone, go to Transform Bone, flip its X value, make it negative, then use Flip Horizontal to mirror it. You might need to fine-tune the rotation to line everything up just right. Now repeat all the same steps for the right leg and boot, including the smart bone action. Just be sure to rename all the bones correctly as you go. Take your time, pay close attention, and make sure everything's clean. Alright, so in this part, we finished rigging the legs and the boot step by step. We also created smart bones for the boot rotation and made sure everything works properly with the constraints and parenting. In the next episode, we're going to move on to rigging the head. So stay tuned and make sure to save your project before moving forward. If you're enjoying the series, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss the next part. See you in the next video.